Pull yourself together. Pull yourself together, man. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Tonto's Demise Week 16 recap. Free at last. I'm finally free of the Phillip Rivers jersey. Yeah, this week was an awful week for me, but great. 11 people cheering for one person sad. You guys got what you wanted, and that's pretty much it. Sunday was like the worst day of my entire year for all sorts of reasons that I already talked about a little bit on the Line app there. It was awful. It was just a terrible weekend, especially on Sunday. Didn't really pay attention to what was going on, mostly because I was at work from like 2 to midnight. We close at 9, and I didn't finish working until midnight. That's how awful Sunday night was at the restaurant. But anyway, nobody cares. So what happened? Going for the Triple Crown. Back-to-back pots, everything, going for everything. And the Wizard of Wimber, much to the joy, said you could hear the shouts of joy across the state, probably. Ed Lager going against the Wizard of Wimber for the third time this year, trying to get a victory for the third time this year. Ed, I believe in week 2, you went for 205 points on me. In week 13, you went for 221 points on me. And in week 16, Ed, he goes for 198 points on me. Enough to get the victory over the Wizard of Wimber and send him packing for the year. No Triple Crown. The back-to-back pot is safe, at least until 2026. 198.6 to 192.9. Basically, once I was able to go back and kind of dig in and review what happened here, basically came down to a touchdown. 5.7 is the difference here. So yeah, touchdown. Basically, Keenan Allen, or not Keenan Allen, although he did have another good week for you. It was Hunter Henry. It really came down to Hunter Henry catching a touchdown pass, only his second touchdown of the year, with literally 1 minute left in the Bills-Patriots game. That is the catch that put you on top, put you over. Once it was all said and done, had a little bit of a chance there Sunday night with Rachaad White. Needed, I think they said 16.8. Not out of the question, but of course, as we all know, he lost a fumble there on what ended up being the Buccaneers' last play of the game against the Cowboys. Actually, somebody said it was garbage time. It wasn't garbage time. They were trying to drive for a game-winning field goal, and White fumbled it away. Even though I caught the very end of that, and couldn't believe, because he had Rachaad White. He had two hands on right as he's going down. He's got two hands on the ball. He's got it like this, two hands on it, and yet as he's going down, he lets go, and somebody knocks it out. So he had exactly 11 points. He doesn't lose that fumble. He's got 13. I would still need about 4. Still needed about 4 from him. That would have required him to maybe have another catch or two. If he scores a touchdown earlier instead of Bucky Irving, maybe it goes different. But really, Puka kind of let me down. Freiermuth let me down. Uh, if Washington could have just tackled Saquon instead of letting him rip off a 68-yard touchdown, things could have been different. But like Detlin used to say, and I actually heard somebody say on the radio today, what if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day, something like that. But yeah, so in victory, Ed Lager. Wouldn't actually, if you had stuck with Russell Wilson, he had 38.5 to A-Rod's 43.5, so a 5-point difference. Even if you had stuck with Russell Wilson, you still would have won this matchup, but it would have been way more painful for me. It would have been like a point difference. He goes for 43.5. Not for these things to happen. Devontae Adams, he goes for 20. Keenan goes for almost 30. Zay goes for 15.5. Saquon with his bank goes for 33. Stevenson, the only 2 touchdowns the Patriots scored were your 2 guys, Stevenson and Henry. Ended up being the difference here. Thought maybe you would put Zach Ertz in once he cleared the concussion protocol, but you did not. And that's what saved the season for you, probably. Neighbors goes for 14. Ricard, your kicker, goes for about 13, I think it was. And your Denver defense, that was the correct score. 5 points. For the Wizard, Joe Burrow goes for 47.5. Chase, 22.5. T. Higgins goes for 20. Puka, 13.5. Again, Rashad White, 11. Tracy goes for 17. Freiermuth, 4.5. JSN, 24. Fairbairn, about 7. And then the Buffalo Bills defense, I believe, ended up being 26. I think I figured out, even if I had kept the Baltimore defense, I think their score was 30. I still would have lost this matchup if I hadn't traded. They did a little bit better, but I still would have lost the matchup. So yeah, it all really just came down to a touchdown. Needed really. It said Puka let me down. Harp on this again. The Cleveland Bengals game. The Bengals, as predicted, didn't have to put up much of a fight because the Browns did not put up much of a fight with Dorian Robinson, Thompson, whatever his name is, at quarterback. They only put up 6 points. The Bengals cruised to a victory here. Made it close, but really just said a touchdown was the difference in this matchup. With the victory, Ed Lager moves on to Tonto Bowl 22. Congratulations to you. And this confirms that we will have someone hoisting the Tonto's Demise trophy for the first time ever. Somebody new signing their name on that trophy stand. So congratulations to Ed. Job's not done yet, but you will be competing in Tonto Bowl 22 against Possum Magic, who soundly defeated Balls Deep this week by almost 100 points. Possum Magic 220.05 to Balls Deep 128.1. All right, for Possum, just solid numbers, pretty much up and down his lineup. Everything he needed to happen went well. Lamar Jackson, despite he only did 36.5 points there. But Justin Jefferson, exact same thing. Helps when your quarterback, one of your receivers, puts up the same score as your quarterback, 36.5. Amon-Ra goes for 19. Scary Terry goes for 17. Dowdle, 8. Derrick Henry, 24. Tucker Kraft, 9.5. Michael Pittman, 4. Sanders, your kicker, kicks at least 5 field goals there. It gets you like 23 points, something like that. 23, almost as many points as Balls Deep's kicker this week. or his quarterback, I should say. Your kicker, Possum's kicker, almost scored as much as Balls Deep's quarterback. And then perfect storm coming together this week for Possum Magic as he has the Green Bay defense getting New Orleans in at home in a situation where New Orleans is pretty much just walking dead. No Carr, no Kamara, no Chris Olive, no Shaheed, no Taysom Hill. Like, they've just been completely decimated by injuries this year. And Packers get a shutout of the Saints at home. Yahoo says 24. Tree, I think we actually bumped you up almost. I think it was like 42, something like that. I think it was like an 18-point bump. So yeah, 40 something. The highest scoring on your team was your defense this week, but you had 36, 36, 20, 24, 23. More than enough to get past Balls Deep, who just tripped up this week and fell flat in this matchup. Where I think last week we kind of talked about it. Said the Packers were probably not going to have to do very much in this matchup, which Zach was loaded up on Packers here with Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs. And Love only goes for 29 points, didn't need to do too much. And Jacobs did score, got you 20.7. But unfortunately, the rest of your team just really did not do a whole lot. Could barely climb out of single digits here, unfortunately, for you, Zach. So Mike Evans goes for 12. London goes for 11. Sutton, 10. Kendre Miller in for the injured Kamara, only 5. Trey McBride, only 5. Juwan Jennings, 9. Boswell goes for about 8. And your Colts defense against Tennessee, they gave up a ton of points, a ton of yards, but they did win the game. We might have given you, let's see, you didn't have any binks here. So it looks like you got about a 6-point bump. Would 9 be too much? Maybe it was 9 to 19 points for your Colts defense. But yeah, it's barely getting out of single digit scores there. 5, 5, 9, 7, 10, 11, 12. Zach just not going to get it done in the time when it matters the most. Playoff time. And Possum Magic, once again, will be moving on to Tonto Bowl 22. Not his first Tonto Bowl, as most of you know. However, he is 0 so far in his Tonto Bowl matchups. Let's see if it says on here how many Tonto Bowls Possum Magic has been in. Let's see. I know he was, like I defeated him in Tonto Bowl 2, which is the only one that is not listed on Yahoo because we didn't use Yahoo. We did everything by hand that year for some reason. Possum Magic. So he lost in Tonto Bowl 2. Let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He lost Tonto Bowl 10 to Jim Crick. So that's 2 he's been in. Let's see. Tonto Bowl 10, 11, 12. He lost Tonto Bowl 13 to the Springfield Isotopes. So he has been in 3. Is that correct? Yeah, he's 0 for 3. Possum Magic in Tonto Bowls. He's had his opportunities. This is Ed Lager's first Tonto Bowl. He has only been in the league for a couple of seasons, but he is getting there. Zach finishing in the top 4, 2 years in both of his first 2 years. I'll be looking to knock him off this week and at least take the third place prize money. But yeah, Tonto Bowl 22 will feature Possum Magic versus Ed Lager. So what do we got? Let's take a quick peek here because we've got games this is going to go from Wednesday till, does anybody have people on Monday? I don't Just looking here, I don't see any. Oh yeah, there is. This is gonna last until Monday, from Wednesday to Monday, almost an entire week. It's gonna take for us to determine, perhaps to determine the Tonto Bowl champion. Possum here on Christmas Day, he's got his Ravens, Lamar, and Derrick Henry at Houston. What else do we got on Wednesday? Ed's got Zay Flowers tomorrow, who is questionable with a shoulder injury. Didn't practice. That could be tricky. So things are kind of lining up for Possum Magic to get. Ed really doesn't have anything else to put into his lineup. He would have to move Neighbors up to a run. Excuse me. If Zay Flowers doesn't play tomorrow, he would have to move Neighbors up into a wide receiver spot. And maybe put Gus Edwards in the flex. Gross. Is Eckler coming back this week? It's possible, it says here on Yahoo. But yeah, certainly having Amon-Ra and Rico Dowdle helps Tree Size, Possum Magic here. If Matt, just going to point out what we are, maybe you guys already know. If Yins or Jags had not made that trade, as we know, he would have won last week, and he would have played me, and I would have defeated him fairly soundly and made it to the Tonto Bowl. So I guess, in hindsight, at the end of the day, long story short, we should be now thanking Detling because that trade kept me out of the Tonto Bowl. Because if he had had Amon-Ra, so he would have, if he still had those guys, assuming everything would have been pretty much the same, he would have had those guys, and I would have been playing him this week. He would have knocked off Zach last week, and I would have been playing him in this round of Tonto's Demise, and I'm pretty sure my 192 would have been able to take him down. But anyway, I digress. What do we got? I mean, Aaron Rodgers has an MCL injury. He plays on Sunday. He says he's going to be okay. A little MCL injury, it says here. Him and Devontae have been throwing touchdowns to each other these past few weeks. You got Saquon versus Dallas. Day after Christmas, what do we got? So we got all those guys on Wednesday, all Ravens. There are no Houston Texans in the Tonto Bowl this year, so there are no Steelers, at least as of right now. There are no Chiefs, so take another Christmas Day games here. And then we have no Texans. It's all Baltimore Ravens, Lamar, Zay, and Derrick Henry. Then Thursday, so you've got Keenan Allen for Ed. Nothing on Friday. Saturday, you've got, what do we have? Saturday, Stevenson and Hunter Henry on Saturday. Denver defense on Saturday. Possum doesn't have anybody on Saturday. And then Monday night, Amon-Ra. So it might come, depending on the score here. So Aaron Rodgers is hurt. Zay is hurt. I mean, Saquon is really the only thing. Keenan Allen has really been on. He's been on fire. Denver D at Cincinnati. The only bad thing, the only good news for Ed is that Tree's defenses play each other. The Vikings and the Packers could be good, could be bad. He's got to choose the right one here. Although it could be a really low-scoring game, or that game could turn into a shootout. Two teams that know each other pretty well. It is in Minnesota, so they'll be indoors there. He's got you have the Vikings kicker there too. All right. So calling it Tree Size. Possum Magic is finally going to take down his very first Tonto Bowl this year. I'm not going to congratulate you yet, but that is my prediction. And they were talking about it a little bit on the podcast. XXII, I hope that you still have the email of Detling sending you that trade offer for Amon-Ra and Rico Dowdle. I hope that you print it out, put that fucker in a frame, and you either hang it on the wall or bring it to the Tonto's draft next year. I want to see, because not saying that it saved your ass, but it definitely helped you out, because you really have nothing on your bench. If you still had, I mean, who were the guys that Detling got? Dunze, Kincaid. Nobody has been really doing anything, right? Of course, Detling's team is not on the matchup list there. So yeah, yeah. Obviously, Rashay Rice doesn't matter. If Adunze and Kincaid were still on your team, not sure what it would have affected things too much. I mean, Amon-Ra went off last week, but you were on a bye. But yeah, you came in, even if you still had them, you blew out balls deep this week. Just looking at the past few weeks here, Possum Magic. You were barely able to beat Hillbillies in week 14 there. When was that trade made? When did you acquire all those guys? Let's see. November 27th. So yeah, right before Thanksgiving. So that would have been like week 13, week 12. So yeah, week 12, you still would have had those guys. Yeah. And you lost to Biscuits. Then week 13, Possum Magic. Sorry, I'm wasting your guys' time. Week 13, where's Possum Magic? You blew out the Dub C Hooligans, so it wouldn't have really mattered. Would not have changed the outcome of that matchup, really. So Possum, you probably would have been in the same spot if you had not made that trade with Detling. Yeah, it pretty much seemed. Don't think it really affects you. Obviously, it makes you better, but based on your matchups and what has happened, I don't think it really affected everything, because maybe you would have lost in week. I don't know what. See, I'm getting sidetracked here. Week 15, week 14 was the last week of regular season. It said you barely squeaked by Hillbillies. I think, didn't Adunze have a good game that week? That was he caught 2 garbage time touchdowns. Yeah. So yeah, you would have probably. The point is, moral of the story, Possum Magic, if he didn't make that trade, he would probably still be in the same spot as he is now. But he would probably be playing me in the Tonto Bowl instead of Ed. So take that for. I don't know if that makes you feel good, makes you feel worse, whatever. But that is my prediction, that Possum Magic is going to win, finally, a Tonto Bowl number 22, and get his first one. The only person who has been here from day one, without a Tonto Bowl trophy, we'll finally get it this week, I think. Ed's team it's just got too many holes in it, I think. Boston Magic's team just has literally, I can't believe it hasn't been mentioned. They're like, oh, he's got in the podcast. They're like, oh, he's got Jefferson, Amon-Ra, and Scary Terry. Like that's probably the best wide. That's got to be one of the best wide receiver trios in the league. It is the best wide receiver trio in the league, guys. The the top 5 wide receivers in our league this year. Number 1 was Jamar Chase. 2, 3, and 4. The top 4 wide receivers: Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Terry McLaurin. XXII has 3 of the top 4 wide receivers. Like there is no better. Nobody even competes with that. He's got 3 of the top 4. It's like a couple years ago when Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown for the NFL receivers, and Josh had he had Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson, like the top 3 receivers in the entire league. Of course, you won the league that year. I think you had one of the highest overall point totals that we've ever seen. So of course you won the league that year. You had all 3 of the top receivers in your lineup. Boston Magic has 3 of the top 4. So as long as they do what they need to do, his running back situation was hurting till he got Rico Dowdle, obviously. Because Henry doesn't always go off. Sometimes he has a quiet game. Pittman doesn't do too much most of the time. But yeah. Ed Logger has the power, but he has been trending up these past few weeks. I think it's time for him to come down. His Jets are at Buffalo. Other than Saquon, your Patriots are playing the Chargers. They have a good defense. Denver's at Cincinnati. We know what Cincinnati can do. It's just everything's falling into place here. Sorry, Ed, but everything seems to be falling into place for Possum Magic to take this one down. That's my prediction, as I've said several times already. So yeah, here we are, about an hour and a half till Christmas time, till it's officially Christmas. Good luck to everybody in Tonto, all 2 of you, in Tonto Bowl 22. Zach, I look forward to knocking you off in the 3rd place game. Again, guys are all happy. No back-to-back pots, no Triple Crown. So the money is safe. Anything else? I think that's it. Thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. May both of these teams go over 200 points. I want to see like a 250 to 245 matchup here. Everybody go crazy. I want to see Rico Dowdle outscore Saquon Barkley. I want to see. Let's see. I want to see Keenan Allen. No, I want to see Keenan Allen score more than Justin Jefferson. I don't really. Yeah. I started watching a little bit of that Aaron Rodgers Netflix series last night. Might watch another episode of it here tonight. We'll see. But yeah, weird stuff. Interesting still. Anyway, I digress. It wouldn't be a normal podcast or a normal review, right, if I didn't say goodbye and then yammer on for another 5 minutes here. So again, guys, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all of you and your families. Coming up here, and it'll be New Year's Eve next week. So yeah, I believe Tuesday is New Year's Eve, right? So, I will be busy once again with work. Very possible, but that it's very possible that by Monday night we will know who's going to win the Tonto Bowl. so perhaps I can do the review before the matchup is actually over. Otherwise, I will get to it when I get to it, probably on New Year's Day after the Tonto Bowl here. So it won't be on Tuesday. So, but anyway, I will get to it because there's no podcast after that to look forward to, unless you guys are going to do some kind of like year in review thing, which would always be nice. Maybe get pull Detling in there, dried Kevin Bean in there too. Have some fun, talk about the year in general. But yeah, so good luck to Possum Magic and Ed Lager in Tonto Bowl 22. May the best team win. And we will look forward to getting back here and discussing what happened. Thanks, guys. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, blah, 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 blah. Enjoy it. These are times that always, someday you'll be looking back. We'll all be looking back at, you live through the good old days without knowing that you're living in the good old days until someday down the line. So yeah, I think pretty much all of you, except myself, have kids and things like that, and families, and get to enjoy that kind of stuff. Well, I just sit here and watch Bad Santa. And all right, but anyway, all right, guys. Again, may both of your teams meet or exceed expectations. Nobody gets hurt. We all have fun. Everyone gets what they want for Christmas. Santa is good to all of you. And we come back here next week to talk about the events of Tonto Bowl 22. All right, guys. Good luck. Bye-bye.